Hello, Mark Allen here for BHSpringSolutions LLC, and we're going to cover in an instructional video here today a conversion of a high power from a traditional operating system that looks like this when it's cocked and locked to the SFS or safety fast shooting system that looks like these two that are hammer forward, but they're also condition 1. So we're going to go through the entire process today. One of the things that you'll notice about this SFS system is visually these two high powers, it's easily recognized that they're in a safe condition. The cocked and locked system, you have to look a little bit more to see that the safety is in the on position. Okay, one quick nuance that other than this one thing, our experience has been that the safety fast shooting system is a drop-in system. Here's how the safety fast shooting system works. When you swipe off the safety, the hammer springs rearward. When you want to put the high power back on safe, you push the hammer forward, the safeties cam up. This is also the simplest takedown of a high power possible because you don't even lock the slide back to take the slide off and remove the slide stop. The one thing that we found on Arcus high powers, there's a little extra material that needs to be filed away in this area right here to accommodate this new extended slide stop that feeds in right here. But with a small file with a rounded side to it, just a little bit of material removed here, and I mean very little, that extended slide stop will slip in there just fine. So that's the only exception we've found to the drop-in nature of the parts associated with the safety fast shooting system. Okay, we're going to get started. I'm going to show you the tools we've got on the table real quick. We've got the SFS kit, the BHSpringSolutions Optimized High Power SFS Springs, BHSpringSolutions third hand tool, got a plastic mallet, also from BHSpringSolutions, 3/32 and 1/16 standard punch tools, small flat blade screwdriver. I've got needle nose pliers and a pair of tweezers on hand in case those are needed. And my Gorilla Tape is going to make a pistol rest here in just a few minutes. And we've also got a bag started here. I cheated a little bit because I took the grip screws out already to save some time. I also tapped out that little 1/16 pin that holds the right side ambidextrous safety lever on, and I've already put it in my parts bag. Now this parts bag is going to be parts for your traditional operating system that you will not be reusing in the SFS conversion. The SFS kit looks like this. I'm going to go ahead and show that real quickly. Comes with written instructions. These are pretty good. If you read slow and you orientate yourself to a couple new names that a couple of new parts for your high power have. Inside here we have the hammer strut and mainspring assembly. We have the what is called the SFS lever. It's a piece with looks like a little hook on it. We have a new Sear. We have a spring called a cocking lever spring. We'll be talking about that one more. We've got new ambidextrous safety, also called cocking levers on the SFS system. A longer slide stop that's going to be more in reach of the thumb once that's installed, and a new Sear Spring. So there's the parts. The Safety Fast Shooting System Optimized Springs from BHSpringSolutions. There are a couple of those that I'm going to be installing in lieu of the springs that come in the kit. We've had some feedback that the optimized springs make the unique hammer functions of the SFS hammer a little bit crisper, a little bit more decisive. So I'm going to go ahead and install those while we're at it here. And real quickly, one quick thing about the SFS parts. The hammer sometimes can come apart when you're trying to install it. If it does, it's no big problem. I want to show you how this kind of all goes together. The hammer just slips right off of here, and I just this piece just came out with it. That is a drop safety that is internal in the hammer. There's the return spring. I'm going to go ahead and keep that one for a refresh in about 5 years. And I'm going to put this return spring, the BHSpringSolutions optimized return spring, I'm going to put it back into the hammer assembly. This return spring looks like this. When you have it orientated correctly, you're going to have the coils, one arm coming to the right, one arm coming to the left. If you have it orientated this way, where the coils are coming down and then out, that's upside down. So have it this way. The left arm will be farthest away from you, or on the far side of the spring. The right arm will be on the near side of the spring to you. That's the way you want it. On the hammer assembly, that little drop safety piece goes into this hole right here. And your return spring goes on the center hole. Get the left arm right there on top of that drop safety is fine. And then the right arm will be orientated just like here. Then the hammer. This little section right here, this curve that you see right here, is going to pick up this right arm. And I'll see if we can actually get that on video here. We're going to find that center hole, and keeping our left arm of that spring up over our drop safety. Try her again. And what you want to do is, when you pick up that leg of that spring, you're basically going to wind the spring like this, and the hammer slides into place. When you are installed correctly, your drop safety will spring forward and back towards the hammer like that. We're going to leave it back this way. It's going to be easier to install if we do. Okay, we're going to get rid of the traditional operating system parts. We're going to go ahead and remove the slide. We will not be using the slide stop anymore, so we'll put that in our traditional operating system parts bag. We won't be changing anything out on the slide. So we're going to use the BHSpringSolutions third hand tool to hold back the hammer, and we're going to go ahead and hold the Sear Spring and push out the Sear pin. We will be reusing that Sear pin. Now we'll have the Sear, that's the piece here, and the Sear Spring now comes out. We will not be reusing that either. And now we can go ahead and release the hammer slowly. That will help us go ahead and drop out the safety lever. We will not be reusing that. That will go into our parts bag, and the ejector we will be reusing, and the hammer strut, and the main spring, and we have all of our traditional operating system parts. Keep these around. You may want to put your traditional operating system back in someday if you want to use your SFS kit on a different high power. It's not that difficult of an operation to do. Okay, this is a good time to do a deep clean on your frame, all of your pinholes internally on your high power. And when you're ready again for reassembly, the reassembly starts with your Sear pin. Your Sear pin hole on the right side of your frame is where you're going to start. And you're going to push that Sear pin until it's about flush with this side of the frame, and go ahead and stop there. Basically, you're going to hang your parts from this side to this side right across. Your Sear has a little tab right here, and that goes on top. We're going to get that lined up here with our Sear pin and push it through until it's just about even with the left side of the Sear, and we're fine with that. Now we're going to grab the SFS lever. When this SFS lever is released from my hand, it's going to fall down this way. I want to hold it this way to install it, and we'll hold it right next to the sear. Find the hole. Found it. And that hook end just now drops down low. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take our ejector. We're going for that hole right there. We'll put it in next to our SFS lever. We'll find that hole. And that sear pin will now be flush against the frame. Now all of our sear pin parts are hung on the pin. Now it's time to go ahead and grab our hammer. We're going to come from the underneath side of the frame. We're going to go ahead and orient our hammer up in the frame. You're going to hold your ejector basically at a 90 to keep it out of the way there. And sometimes it takes a minute to get this right angle, and sometimes it just happens easily. Sometimes you have to move the sear and the SFS lever around just a little bit until you're oriented up correctly. Now we're going to come back down with our ejector to this position. We've got our hammer in this position. We don't need our sear spring actually yet. Now here's a key. In this hole you're going to see the hook of that SFS lever. This pin on the safety lever is, you're going for that hook, and we're going to be able to hopefully see that here in just a second. But the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and get that lever pushed all the way up against the frame. And we are with that pin there inside the hook. There we are. Now we're flush against the frame. Move the sear a little bit. And now the key to this next part is you're going to bring this lever up just a little, because this cocking lever spring has a little tip on it that kind of comes off this coil at a 90. That's not a mistake. That must be there in order to work correctly. Your other end is more closed, and this one has the little tip. The one with the little tip is the part that goes in last. Right up in this section here, there is a hole on this safety lever. What you're going to do is you're going to keep that tip here pointed this way, and the actual end of where this tip comes out of the 90 is going to be oriented up in the hole. So we'll be able to push it in there just like that. And again, that little tip needs to be on the top side of the spring, in other words. Then we're going to take our flathead screwdriver. We're going to push that spring up into the position with the flathead screwdriver, and when we do, we're going to be able to then push that safety lever in and flush with the frame. And I can now look down in and I can see the little tip of that spring. It is oriented on top just the way we want it, and now that should now work correctly. This sear pin here must be flush with the frame on both sides, or you'll have resistance on the slide. You can kind of flatten that with the frame with your screwdriver like that. The sear spring, this is a pretty easy thing compared to the traditional operating system. You're going to take your sear spring up under the frame this way, get that tip end, this end, under the sear, like that. On this end, you're going to be able to push and then push down lower, or lower it in the frame, like that. And it snaps right into place. And finally, our right side safety lever, we'll put that on. This is really a pleasure compared to a traditional operating system safety lever, because this safety lever can only go into one position. You don't have to line up the pin from the underneath side with a punch. You can just do it just as you just saw. I like to take an upside down punch sometimes and get a pin going. It gives me less chance of slipping off. Now we'll go ahead and tap that one the rest of the way in. Okay, nice and flush. At this point, I should have a working SFS system. If I push the hammer forward, the safeties do in fact cam up, and that is the action that we're looking for. We're ready to put the slide back on. We're just going to bring the slide to its forward battery position. Take our extended slide stop. Have to have a magazine in here to... Good. All functions working correctly. We'll put the grips back on, and that is a complete SFS conversion.